Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss one of the key points in a C language, that is nothing but a function. Let's we try to start to discuss about that the function. What is the definition of a function? So the function is a group of statements that together perform a one specific task. Actually, every C program has at least one function, and we all are known about it. That is nothing but a main function. What are the functions aspects? Definitely a very important concept related to that function. What are the function aspects? There are total three function aspects are there. One, how to declare that function. Second, how to call that function. And third one, how to define that function, how to write the definition of a function. Let's we see one by one in detail about these function aspects. So the first is the function declaration. So function declaration tells the compiler about function's name, the return type, and the parameter. The parameters are also known as arguments. Its syntax is data type space function name, and in a round bracket arguments along with its data types. For example, let's consider that one example so that your concept about the declaration of a function will be clear. Here I have shown you that the total three examples. The three examples are of different varieties. Let's consider that first example, integer sum in bracket integer a comma integer b. A and b are the name of that variable, and the name of the variable in the declaration part is optional, so that we can write in another way also. Float average. In a round bracket nothing is present. It means that the no argument, no parameters are passed. Void, it indicates that it will not return any value, any data type, so that the data type of a fact is a function name, and the void is a data type, and in a bracket integer means only one argument we are going to pass to that function is there. So that important note related to that function, in function declaration variable name is optional, as I already discussed, and after declaration of a function the semicolon is must. Another one important point I want to add it here, the function can be declared above the main function before the main function is there. Please keep these things in your mind. This is very important while writing the program code. The second part is a function definition. A function definition provides that actual body of that function. It contains that actual statements which are to be executed. Here we most notice that only one value can be returned from the function. Syntax, data type, function name, and in a bracket the arguments along with the data type, open curly bracket and the close curly bracket, and within that the function statements are present. The function statements, it may be one or more than one. For example, here I have shown you one example, integer sum, two arguments, integer a comma integer b. For both the arguments, the data types, it's most, you cannot write one data type for both variable. This is the syntax here, and open and close curly bracket, and within that here you have to write. So where to write the function definition? So function definition can be written after the main function. What I say that about the declaration is always before the main function, definition is always after the main function, and the third aspect is nothing but the function call. The function call or function can be called from anywhere in the program. The parameter list must not be deferred in function calling and function declaration. This statement is very important. The parameter, what the parameters or that arguments we have declared in the declaration of our functions, and while calling that parameter we have to provide same number of arguments, same number of parameters. There should not be the any difference. Okay, so see that the syntax for the function call, only the function name and in brown bracket the arguments are required here. Data type for the arguments are not required while calling the function here. See that example here. I just oh, it's my mistake. Actually, the data type is not required here. Only sum in bracket a comma b, average in open bracket fact in bracket p. That integer, float, and that void. This is not required while calling the function here. Let's see that one simple example so that your concepts related to the function aspects, declaration, definition, and the calling will be clear. See that the first one, the header file stdio.h and conio.h. After that, before the main function, one functions I have declared here, and that is nothing but void display. So the void is the data type, space, display is the name of a function, open bracket, close bracket. Then the main function it will start. Then in that main function I have called that the display function. Now you see that while calling that the display, only the name of the function is required, and once the main function it will be over, then I have written that the definition for the display function, and in that only hello message I want to print. So the output of this function will be simple. The program is so simple, but you have to give the more concentration on where I have declared that function, where I have called that function, and where I have written the definition of a function, and what are the syntax for that. Okay, these are the three essential things. Types of the function. As you know that there are two types of function. One is the predefined standard library functions. These are the functions which already have the definition in a header file. For example, stdio.h, conio.h, maths.h, so many functions are there, so many header files are there. So we just call them whenever there is a need to use them. For example, printf, scanf, these are the functions which are already stored in the stdio.h, getS, putS. These are already stored in a string.h, clr, scr, getch. These functions are stored in a conio.h, etc. These are the predefined functions. But we have to discuss more about that user-defined function. The functions that we create in a program are known as a user-defined function. User-defined functions are used to improve readability of a code and to reduce the complexity of the code. This is the main purpose behind the writing that the function here. So types of a user-defined functions. These types, actually there are total 4 types are there, and these types are depends on the argument and the return type. So first type is no argument no return, second type is a no argument with return, third one is a with argument no return, and fourth one is a with argument with return. So before writing the function we have to clear in our mind in which type we have to write that function. Once this type will be clear, then it is very easy part to write the function. But before clearing the type of the function, no one can write that the function definition. So this is the important thing, is that we will discuss these 4 types in detail. But my message to you is that before writing the function, your first thing should be you have to clear the type of the function, because nobody will mention to write that code, write the function with this type, with this type. No, this is your choices there. So this is totally depends upon you. Let's we start with the first type, no argument no return. So this I have written one simple code. This code is for factorial of a given number. We have to take one number from the user and we have to put in that it's a factorial. As you know that how to calculate that the factorial. Factorial is nothing but product of 1 to the given number. Every number is that we have to calculate. So see that here no argument, no return means we are the main function will not pass any data, any argument, any parameter to the user defined function, and the same way the user defined function also not return anything to that main function. So what is the job of the main function? Just to call that user defined function. So the declaration before the main, calling within the main, and the definition after the main. You can just check it here. And the logic behind to calculate the factorial of a given number is, as you know that it is just the product from 1 to that number is there. Okay, but if you see that here the main function has not passed any data to that user defined function. That's why while declaring and while defining and while calling, the bracket in front of fact is empty. And another way, the data type of this user defined function is void. It means that it will not return, because as we already decided, we have to write this function with a no return type. That's why the data type is a void and it will not return anything. Okay, so your concentration towards the data type of a user defined function and what we have to write in a bracket. This is depends upon the types. Okay, so hope that this part will be clear to you. Second, no argument with return. Now, no argument is what? The main function, while calling that the user defined function, it will not pass any argument. But the user defined function will return something to the main function. Now, if we want to return something to that user defined function, to the main function, it means that data type of a user defined function must be not not void. It may be some specific data type that is nothing but integer, float, character, like this. So here the same program I have considered with the second type. If you see that the change in the declaration before the fact, I have written that integer. It is simply indicates that while executing this factorial function, some integer value will return to the main function. Are you clear about it? Is it that clear? Then, if you see that the first change is that in place of void integer, it comes in the function declaration as well as in the function definition. And the second thing is that as this function will return something to that main function, so the job of the main function to collect that final value, what the value which will return by that user defined function, store in that some variable, and it will print. Okay, so that for that purpose in the main function, if you see that I have considered one result variable. The result is equal to fact. This is the calling, as well as it will collect the final value in the result, and the job of the main function is to print the final value of the result. And now if you see that the function definition, the function definition, the last statement is a return. It means that it will return that value of r, and r it will store that the final value of a factorial. Hope that the second type is also clear to you. Then the third type is a with argument no return. Now with argument means the main function will pass the argument parameter to the user defined function, but user defined function will not return anything. So see that the same type of a code. As we decided that user defined function will not return anything to the main function, that's why the type of the data type of a user defined function is void. But if you see that in front of the fact in a bracket, I have written something over here. That is nothing but in the declaration part only the data type is most, but in the definition along with the data type, that variable is also the required here. The bracket is not empty, it means that something value has to be passed. And now if we see that in the main function, while calling that the function, I have passed that value of n, and the n is nothing but the number of which we have to find the factorial. So while calling that the fact that n value has to be passed, that value has taken by the user defined function, it will calculate the final result, and in the function definition, user defined function will print the final value. You can see that this code. Okay. Um I will share this my PPT to you. You can see the code with this different type. Okay, so let's go to the next last one type, with argument with return. So this is the combination of all, means main function has to pass some argument to that user defined function, and user defined function has to return some single value to the main function. For that, the data type of factorial is not void. You can check it, and that bracket is also not empty. Means user defined function will pass something. It will return some value to the main function is there. Okay. Hope that all these parts will be understood to you. If you have that any query, any question, then you can write the message to me on my WhatsApp number as well as to my email ID. Thank you very much.